All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are tackling a topic that just loves to sound complicated, programmatic advertising. But what if I told you that underneath all the jargon, it's actually incredibly simple? Well, stick with me, because we're about to uncover the plain truth.
I mean, listen to this quote. This is exactly why it all feels so intimidating, right? It perfectly captures how people talk about it. Like it's this incredibly complex thing you need 3 PhDs to understand. Some kind of high-tech financial wizardry that's just way too confusing for the rest of us.
But here's the secret.
It's not.
It really isn't.
All that complexity, it's pretty much an illusion. It's a myth that's been built up with a whole lot of confusing language. And today, we're going to tear that myth down.
Yeah, this whole idea that programmatic advertising is some kind of mystical machine, it's just that. A myth. Honestly, it feels like it's been deliberately wrapped in confusing acronyms and technical terms just to make it sound more impressive than it really is. But if you can just look past the language, the actual idea is super straightforward.
Just think about your own experience for a second. You open a news article, you're browsing a blog, maybe an online store, and poof, an ad appears in that little box on the side. This happens to you, to all of us. Dozens, maybe hundreds of times every single day. So what is actually going on in that split second before the ad loads?
Well, what's happening is just an auction. That's it. A really, really fast one. It's not a space mission. It's more like a lightning fast marketplace where a deal gets done in literally the blink of an eye. So let's break down exactly how that simple little auction actually works.
And honestly, the process makes a ton of sense when you see it laid out. First, you open a web page. Simple enough. As that page is loading, its software instantly sends out a message, basically shouting, "Hey, I've got an ad space right here. Who wants to buy it?" That's step 2. Then, in step 3, a few automated systems take a quick glance at some basic info. Like what kind of website it is, or maybe what device you're on. Next up, buyers, or really their software, place their bids, and bam, the highest one wins. And finally, step 5, the winning ad loads right onto your screen. The crazy part? All of this happens in milliseconds.
And that's it. That 5-step process we just walked through, that is the so-called mystical machine. It's just a simple sale happening at the ridiculous speed of the internet. It's not magic, it's just automation. So you're probably wondering, if the process is that simple, where does all the confusion come from? Well, it comes from the jargon. The absolute key to really getting this stuff is just translating the industry's fancy language into plain, simple English. So let's do that right now. Okay, let's decode some of the biggest offenders here. When you hear somebody say DSP, all they're talking about is buying software. An SSP, you guessed it, selling software. RTB, or real-time bidding, that's just the fancy name for that very fast auction we just talked about. And retargeting, that's just the reason the ad for those sneakers you looked at yesterday is now following you all over the internet. And header bidding is just a way for the seller to ask more buyers to bid at once, hoping to get a better price. See, they're all just fancy labels for really simple jobs. All right, so we've pulled back the curtain on the process, we've translated the confusing language, but why does any of this actually matter? Well, it's hugely important, because when you understand how it works, you can finally see past all the hype and really think about what's going on with your attention and your data online. This slide right here is the perfect before and after. On the one hand, you have the jargon, this tangled mess of buzzwords that sounds super impressive but doesn't really mean much. But once you translate it, you get the plain truth on the other side. All it is software making a really quick decision about which ad to show to which person on which page and for how much. That's it. We go from engineered confusion to simple clarity. And look, let's be fair. This automation, it's genuinely useful for advertisers and for publishers. It's a super efficient way to buy and sell ad space on a massive scale. But it's a tool. It's not magic. It's just a machine built with code, not some mysterious, unknowable force. So at the end of the day, we've established it's not magic. It's a machine, a very fast and sure, a very efficient machine. But that leaves us with a much more interesting and I think a much more important question to ask. Now that we understand how the machine works, we can start to ask who really benefits the most from the way it was built.